What is up, guys? It is Stu. It is another episode of the What the Fuck Gym Talk podcast. We have another episode of live problem solving. And today we're going to take a look at a client that I work with intermittently whenever they kind of have a problem pop up. And we recently got on a call, and then there was a segment of the call that we had a discussion on. And I'm going to share with you my advice that I gave them on this. All right. So here we are. You can kind of see here, so asking is one more question. Along with the price raise, we're talking about doing a price correction, we are also considering raising our PT prices. All coaches currently charge $70 an hour. Any suggestions on what our PT prices should be? They're thinking of having one of the owners, who is a very well-known, very well-respected coach, at a one price point, their sports performance coaches at another price point, and then their general fitness people at another price point. Okay, so that was the basis of the problem that they asked, and I want to talk to you about how I would go about solving this. And I think it's gonna be a little bit different than what you think. So first off, you don't want to have such a discrepancy between price points based on the type of service, because what you're going to do then is you're going to create a segregation within the gym. So for example, if you have a very high price point service, and then you have a, let's say, a medium price point service, and then a lower price point service, you will then have three different versions of your core customer. Right? So everyone here should know who their core customer is. Okay? If you don't, shoot me a DM. I can help you figure that out. But that core customer, there's shades, right? There's different hues of your core customer. And you're going to have different versions of that core customer here. Now, a core customer is essentially not really a person. It's a problem set. It's a problem they have that you can solve. Now, if you add varying shades of that in, what happens is as they go towards the cheaper price thing, that problem becomes less of an imperative to get solved. So for example, at this high price point, this could be somebody, in this particular example, we're talking about personal training. All right. So at the high price point, you could be maybe think about somebody who is, has a medical thing going on, right? An injury. Okay. Or, it's something where they just, they can afford to pay to get back joy in their life, right? And that joy in their life could be, their back hurts and they want to be able to, play golf with their buddies, or they want to, they have an expensive yacht club membership and they can't play pickleball or racquetball because of their knee pain, okay? So this kind of person is going to have that kind of a problem, and they'll go maybe for that higher price point. Now, down the line, and in this particular, talking about this sports performance, this youth sports performance thing, now you're going to have a different customer, a different shade of that core customer, where mainly it's something that is just, it's intermittent. I can't even spell intermittent, so I'm just scribbling it as if I know how to spell it. Intermittent, it's fickle. I can spell that. It means it comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. It's like when I'm into it, and I'm willing to spend some money. But when I'm not in it, I'm not in it. And you'll see this with athletes in season, off season. You'll see this with people who kind of go through phases. Training for something, the thing's over, I'm not training for it anymore. And then you get down to the lower bottom tier. And these are people who, this is simply, these are not needs. Okay? They're not going after needs. These are wants. Okay? And at that point, somebody who wants something and they don't have the means to go to the top tier version of it, then this is something that is going to, again, it's going to be fleeting. It's generally going to be those clients that you have to really, really, really sell because the price is lower, because that's who they're going after. So it's like general fitness. They have no injuries. They have no real pain points. They don't have expensive problems. You're constantly going to be kind of chasing that person down. Now, you all understand the nuances of something very expensive, something kind of expensive, and something inexpensive. You guys get that. But imagine these three different people just constantly growing and selling them within your gym. And you've got a gym that is this Venn diagram. I'm going to try drawing a Venn diagram, not fucking it up. Boom. And then you'd have this one here. You'd have this Venn diagram where, this thing here in the middle where they all kind of connect. So that's a great core customer, a little bit of both. But you're also going to have a bunch of the people out here. These are the people that make up the expensive thing. A bunch of the people here that make up the kind of expensive thing. A bunch of people here that make up the inexpensive thing. The socioeconomic classes and what these people value are different. These people here, the real expensive ones, they might value amenities and quality of service and all the great things that you get when you buy things from Apple, or you drive a Lexus, or you go to a Michelin restaurant. They're going to value that stuff. The people down here that are paying the inexpensive rate, they're just like, yeah, I just pay for it, I come and go. Now granted, cheap customers that pay the least generally seem to have the most complaints, but they don't want to pay enough to be able to get a service better than what they're getting. By and large, this is tough, and I don't recommend you break those services down based on the provider, okay? Now, if you give the trainers a cut, so it could look like this, where all the prices are right here. So all the prices are expensive, okay? And trainers, you give them an internal ranking. So maybe there's a level 1, there's a level 2, there's a level 3, just three numbers are easy. And that is based on experience. It's based on NPS, so Net Promoter Scores. If you're not familiar with those, you should be doing Net Promoter Scores on all of your trainers. One thing I really like that ClassPass did, ClassPass had a great way for ClassPassers to rank trainers. It was honestly, and more people filled that out than I have ever found filled out a native survey sent out by the gym. But let's say, this is based on experience and feedback and like critique scores from not only customers, but also their superior, right? Their manager. And this determines how big of a commission they get. So if they're a level 1, they make, a small commission. Level 2, they make a little more. And level 3, they make, a lot more commission. So I'd recommend that. That way the price is the same, because what does this do if the price is the same? We don't have that fucked Venn diagram issue. You don't have a clusterfuck of different socioeconomic customers within the business. But you are able to pay trainers on this tier. So for those of you guys listening, don't price publicly the difference. Like, oh, John? Yeah, John's totally only worth $60 a session. But Sally, damn, that bitch is good. She's $90 a session. Well, what happens in a year or so and John gets better and you think, okay, he's worth the $90 a session like Sally is, but his customers are used to paying $60, right? They're not gonna feel the difference. Right? Even though he's gained a ton of knowledge and experience, they likely won't notice the nuance of that. So don't have publicly different tiers, have privately different commission rates or performance rates would be my recommendation. Now, the second question that was asked in that email has everything to do with how to price their personal training, okay? And I recommend the 3-step process for pricing your personal training. Number 1, I want you to work backwards. And what I mean by that is I want you to think about, what do you want the coach to take home? Okay? How much do you want the coach to net? And this can be pre-taxed. But how much do you want them to net from the amount that you're going to charge? The retail price to the customer versus what they're going to take. A lot of you guys do, 45% of the revenue. This is the 4-9s model. 45% of the revenue of the session goes to the trainer. Some of you guys go higher, you go 65% or 70%, whatever it may be, all right? I'm not here to say which percentage is right or wrong, but work backwards. So if you want a trainer to go ahead and take home $50 per session, right? And we go ahead and we're giving, let's say your commission currently right now is 45%, okay? So $50 and you're gonna be giving them 45%. That means we need to charge about $110 a session, right? Somewhere in that ballpark right there. So in order for them to go ahead and get the 50, if you're paying them 45% of that retail or that gross sales price or the point of sale cash, that'd have to be $110 a session. All right, so you work backwards from what you want the trainer to take home. Number 2 is once you've established that and you look at that number, a lot of you might say, oh shit, $110 a session, I don't know if anyone's gonna pay that, right? Now you need to go ahead and you need to compare to the market. Now, I say this with a huge asterisk. You do not dictate your pricing based on what your competitors are charging. Because just because someone is charging X does not mean you charge X or charge more than X or charge less than X. It is not what dictates your pricing. It does, however, influence. It is a factor, a variable that you take into consideration. All right, people go, I'm not dictating my pricing based on what the guy down the street's doing. Good. But if you also are like, I don't even care what he's charging, I believe that to be ignorant. I do believe that looking and researching at the market and just seeing what is the market commanding currently right now. And then how can I command a price better? Because what that research enables you to do, it's not just what they're charging. You need to get in there and experience the sessions. whether you literally get your aunt to go in there and you buy your aunt 5 sessions and you go in, you have your aunt in there as a fucking Trojan horse secret, spy to get an idea, what does their service look like? But it is like really, really good operators. They do understand what their competitors are doing, especially if their competitors are successful. And it's someone, maybe and you're behind in the race and you're trying to catch up. You have to understand it, not just the pricing off their website, but what does the service actually look like? So in this scenario, you've gone ahead, you've compared to the market, and you've decided, hey, this price at $110 would actually make us one of the more, if not the most expensive personal training rate in town. How do I justify that? Because this is the fear where everyone gets. So here goes right here. If you want people to pay more, you have to look and act different. It's as simple as that. So if I were to ask you right now, visually, ignorantly, I walk into your gym, I watch. I'm just there. I've called and I said, I'm really nervous to try personal training. Can I just watch a session? If that person came in and just watched the session, not really knowing what's happening, not hearing the words, not really understanding what good coaching is or what bad coaching, just watches the session from 15 feet away. And then they go to the other gym in town and watch a session there, and another gym in town and watch a session there. Does it all look pretty much the same? If it does, they are going to go with the lowest price because they do not recognize the difference. And before all you guys fucking go from 6 to midnight and get your heart on, like, but Stu, my training is way better than the person my competitor down the street. They suck donkey dick. I'm the fucking man. You should see my training, all right? It fucking make you come. I'm like, bro, listen, you've got facts and feelings in business. And I love your feelings. I love that you're very, very, positive and you're very confident in the service you're delivering. But those are feelings. They're very subjective. Somebody can have a session with you and for whatever reason, you guys did not mesh, right? It just was, they weren't picking up what you were putting down and they said the session wasn't that good. And then you're frustrated. Like, what do you mean? I coached the fuck out of that person. Maybe that's just not what they were looking for. They're looking for something different. We all know we've done personal training. Some people are there for psychiatry. Some people are there for camaraderie. Some people are there for just performance driven and they want to geek out and they want you to tell them all the ins and outs of programming and, percentages of 1RMs and all that. So you have to make it look and act different. And here's my favorite tip on doing this is very simple, 2 parts. Number 1, and I've stole this from really good golf instructors. If anyone here has ever paid for great golf lessons, I mean good, like you paid probably 3 figures for it, $100 or more per session. You walked away with probably video analysis. You had a ton of stuff that was sent to you afterwards that showed you, hey, work on this to fix your slice, or next time we come in, we can do these club fittings and blah, 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 blah. Those sessions are highly, highly valuable because they leverage a tech stack, right? I think Fisheye was one of them for a while. There's some other ones for golf specifically, where they can film it, they can see the lines of your golf club, they know what's happening. They also go ahead and they send you things afterwards, follow-ups. Here are skills and drills to do. We recommend being at the range and hitting, 80 balls with this exercise and 60 balls on this exercise, and then finish with 20 balls at the putting green of this. That's what if you've never done really good golf lessons, it's something like that. Now, how can you do that for the gym? Very simple. Number 1, you guys need to leverage just some basic tech. My fucking 7-year-old has an iPad. You fuckers for personal training don't have iPads? Get the fuck out of here. That's insane. When somebody comes in and they are observing a personal training session, your coach has an iPad. And if you're looking at me now, this is a tablet, but you guys get the idea. That person uses the iPad, not from a sense of the nice thing about the iPad is because there's no concern of someone texting. Do not have them use their phone. It is not the same. It looks like what shitty personal trainers do because you can't tell. Are they actually filming them or are they watching TikToks? Don't use your phone. Use a company universal iPad that you have at the front desk. You go ahead before the client session begins. You have an entire layout, and I don't care what you use to put it out there, but you show them this is what we're working on today. Then when they're performing movements, you film them. You then show them the film, you review the film, because odds are a lot of you guys don't have mirrors in your gym. And I get it, especially in the group strength and conditioning facility, that's a liability of shit getting broke. But mirrors are incredible to help someone understand their kinesthetic awareness or lack thereof. When people can't figure out a movement, you get them in front of a mirror and they see themselves doing it, like, see how you're doing it like this? Now do it like that. And they're like, oh shit, that I needed to see it. Because otherwise they just have verbal cues of yours and visual cues where you're looking at them do it, but seeing yourself in the mirror, it's a completely different coaching experience for the client. So you've got these videos, showing it them live in the session. And that's why personal training can't be like 3, 2, 1, go, work out, and you watch someone do 7 rounds of something. That's not personal training. Not at all. If that's what you do in your gym for personal training, just go ahead and slam your dick in a car door. You're doing a shit job. Give everyone their money back today. Rewatch this podcast a few times. And then after your dick heals, go back and do it better, because that is dog shit. To have someone pay money to come in and you 3, 2, 1, go them. That is absolute dog shit. Now you've got the videos. You can send afterwards, immediately after the session, you send a follow-up email. Hey, here's those drills that we went over today. Here's what I want you to work on this one twice a week, 3 sets of 5, and blah, 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 whatever it may be. Now they've received something afterwards. They had some very, very good teaching moments during the session. And now the kicker, you have to look different. So that whole thing with the, getting down there and filming them, that looks different. But I want you to also look different in an apparel uniform standpoint. So like CrossFit gyms are notorious for this. Like whatever shirt you wear to coach class, you're like, oh, I'm coaching class, then I got a private lesson, I got a PT session afterwards, and they just go straight into it. They're not able to differentiate the difference between you as a group class instructor, in which you're paying $150 a month for, that boils down to $15 a class, versus you as the personal trainer, the subject matter expert in human performance and movement and kinesiology, who's charging $110 a session. They can't tell the difference because you look the fucking same. Imagine if the way the guy that dresses, that washes your car when you go through the car wash, also went to valet your car when you got to a nice restaurant. You'd be like, nah, you fucking greaseball, not a chance. Who the fuck is this guy? Did he just get out of prison? No, way you dress for what you're doing matters. So what I recommend are gyms, if you have like a generic, like you have coaches shirts that they wear during group fitness, which is your lower priced option, right? That's lower priced service. Then have a similar color scheme, have your logo on it, but have it be a nice fucking polo. Generally make, whatever accent colors you have, everyone's brand colors are always white, black, and gray, plus 2 to 3, accent colors. Make it one of your accent colors so people stand out. And that way when your other members see that coach, there with the fucking iPad doing their thing, filming and all that, they're like, oh, what's that? That looks awesome. It doesn't just look like a class of one. And that's what so many of the CrossFit gyms and the mom and pop micro gyms do. Your personal training looks like a class of one. A group class, which there's no fucking value in. They're 15 to 10 bucks a session probably, for most gyms. But then you want to charge $110 a session in personal training or something like that, even more than that maybe. Well, you can't if it doesn't look and act different. So anyway, this is the advice I'm going to be giving to my clients. I hope some of you guys benefited from this as well. If you ever have a problem, you want to sit down and get on a call so I can problem solve it for you specifically, please head over to WTFGymTalk.com. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at WTFGymTalk. And until I talk to you in the next podcast, have a great fucking day.